Dear respected Thay, dear brothers and sisters, and dear Sangha, dear everyone, dear friends, welcome to the summer retreat. And today is the 24th of July, 2016, and we are in the Assembly of Star Meditation Hall in Lower Hamlet. And this is the first talk of the 4th week of our summer retreat. I could not believe that 3 weeks has passed by. And for those of you who are here the first time, welcome. This is the crowdest week of the whole retreat. And I have to admit to all of you, I'm a little bit nervous. Yesterday, I told myself, I have to prepare for the talk because there are so many friends who come from everywhere in the world. Also, I have to admit with you that it's kind of a little bit nervous to give talk in Plum Village. I have been giving talk outside in other retreats, on trips, in other countries. But in Plum Village, normally it's Thay who give the talk. And so the Sangha has been his continuation in the last almost 2 years. But I was with him, so I also didn't get a chance to be with everyone. And suddenly, breathing in, I know that I was nervous. So yesterday, I started doing all sorts of things to avoid facing the fact that I have to prepare for my talk. Normally, I do things a lot. And yesterday, I tried to tell myself, oh, it's normal. I have to wash my clothes. I have to clean the house. I have to do this. I have to do that. But deep, deep inside, I know that I was trying to avoid facing my fear. And I laugh. You know, sometimes in life, we don't want to confront with something. And we try to lie to ourselves, or I would say the word like to cheat to ourselves. We want to give ourselves all sorts of excuses so that we don't have to face it. But we have to face it anyway. So I'm here. Good explanation, huh? And you have been, for those of you who have been here or who have come to Plum Village for so many times, also even you are here the first time, I believe for the last 2 days, you have been getting used to breathing in and breathing out. And you will hear that everywhere because we will apply that for everything, including the 10 mindful movements, which we practice only 5, I think. It's also like breathing in, then I raise my hand like this, and breathing out, and I do that. That is the first of the first 4 exercises that I would like to mention to you today. The first one is in breath and out breath. And to be short, we just have to be mindful and aware of our breath. That's all, in everything. Of course, that when you sit, and especially when you do sitting meditation, it's the easiest one. Breathing in, I know this is my in-breath. Breathing out, I know this is my out-breath. But as easy as like that, it's not easy for the beginners. When I first practiced it, I remember that I said, this is my in-breath, this is my out-breath, and actually, after a while, I find out that I said it wrong. I told myself this is my in-breath, but actually I was breathing out. Any one of you get into that situation? Okay. So don't practice in such a way that you become, a robot. That you just say it, but you didn't really do it. And we know that the mindful breath can help us a lot. Because when we really focus on it, we're aware of what we're doing. We're aware of what we think. We're aware of what happened inside us and what happened outside us. I hope that in your orientation that you already been introduced to this breathing, to the mindful breath. So I'm not going to say much more about that, except for one thing. Don't try to control it. When you pay so much attention to it, sometimes you feel awkward. And suddenly you feel like you don't breathe normally anymore. You kind of have to hold your breath a little bit. So it's just like anything else. Just think of like you watch, you are doing something and somebody watching you. And suddenly you feel being very uncomfortable and you don't do things naturally anymore. My experience with that is when I'm following my breath and I felt like I don't really do it naturally anymore, I thought of something else. I just release the tension. I don't say like, I have to follow my breath, but I just pay my attention a little bit to other things. In meantime, I'm still kind of peeping into my breath a little bit. And then I realize that, yes, I'm still breathing in and breathing out, which is normal, but then I can easily come back to my breath. For those of you who get used to, then you shouldn't do it because then it will take out your concentration. But for those of you who are new and you feel like it's really a hard work to do, you don't have to. Enjoy breathing. That is something pleasure. We should enjoy it. Without the breath, we cannot survive. And once you be able to get used to it and enjoy it, it will be very, very nourishing. So for breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. You will hear it everywhere during your 7 days here. And you will do it when you come home. And I hope that is your best gift that you have to do. Because when things happen, that's probably the only thing we can do. This brought me back to the incident happened in 9/11. At that time, I was already booked the ticket to go to Vietnam. So a week after that incident happened, I went back to Vietnam. And of course, the security was very tense. People were very tense. The atmosphere of fear is everywhere. I boarded the plane, and I remember the plane is so deserted. There are only like 4 or 5 people. The number of attendants are more than the number of passengers. And before I left, my father asked me, "Don't go. If war happened, then what happened to you? Because then you will be away from United States." I was in the United States at that time. And I said, "Dad, if war happened, it happened everywhere. Who can say whether U.S. is more safe than Vietnam at that time?" But the fact that, airplane at that time, everybody think about it and they get scared. So I was in the airplane and I just breathing in and breathing out. That's the only thing I can do. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm doing a long sitting meditation. And it's so quiet. It's good. I have plenty of sits. I can sit three sits at a time. I can fold up my legs and I can be in any position I want. And I follow my breath. One of the attendants came over, and she was full of tension. She was full of scare, and she was so tense. And suddenly she looked at me and she said, I was wearing, what they call it, a mala? Yeah. Normally I don't practice it. The mala I just wear because I want to bring back to Vietnam to give as a gift. And somebody gave it to me and I don't use it, so I carry it with me. And suddenly she kneeled down next to me and she said, are you a Buddhist nun? I said, yes. Are you meditating? I said, yes. And then she touched the mala and she said, can you give it to me? And this is very, very unusual. But I can see that at that time people are really fearful because of her job. I think she cannot quit at that time, but she was scared. She doesn't know what happened on the airplane. So, okay, I said, okay, I give it. And I took it out and I gave it to her. And she said, did you bless it? Wow, that's difficult to answer. But then I thought, well, I have been breathing in and breathing out for the whole time. So yes, at least my energy of peace has been in here. So I said, yes, it got blessed. And then she took it in, and just 5 minutes later, another steward came to me and said, do you have another one? Well, of course I didn't. So I said, I'm sorry, I have only one. But when we depart from the airplane, and while we were on the line to go in to do the visa and everything like that, I can see that something happened when you just follow your breath and you generate the energy of peace around you. People were drawn to you. And then they look at me and they say, are you meditating? This is when I was standing up in line. And I say, yes. And I also just show them because it looks like they don't know what to do. I said, you can just like breathing in and you aware that you are breathing in, and breathing out, you're aware. You are breathing out. And think, we are lucky. We're still alive. We still have our breath. Enjoy it. So I just give them a super, super short Dhamma talk like that. And amazingly, they took it. I don't know how much they practiced, but it seems like I calmed them down. And they just online next to me, and they are breathing in and breathing out with me. So that was an experience that I feel like it's very powerful, that we don't really know it until when it happened. But normally, okay, we always breathing in and out. Why do we have to be so, make it a big deal about it? But then we go a little bit further, that we follow our breath all the way to know that whether it's long or whether it's short. And of course, to me, it doesn't matter whether it's long or short. Of course, if I have a longer breath, I would be more happy, because then if I swim, then I can swim better. But sometimes it's short, and to my kids, most of the time it's short. The reason is when we be able to do it, breathing in, then I know that this is the beginning of my in-breath, and I stick with my in-breath all the way until the end, whether it's short or whether it's long. And if we be able to do it, then we generate the concentration, the energy of concentration completely during our in-breath or our out-breath. Well, it's easy to say, not easy to do. Most of the time, in the middle or two-thirds of our breath, our mind starts wandering off into something else. And then we forgot whether we are doing the in-breath or out-breath. It's okay. We just have to go back and we continue with that. I think this is the first time I'm using this device. So it's also another factor of being worried. When we follow our in-breath and our out-breath, we really generate our concentration. And when we be able to generate the energy of concentration, then insight can happen. So, I think the practice seems very simple. But when we really do it, then we find out something interesting that I'm going to show you. Better? There was one question that will raise up in, I don't know whether in one Dhamma discussion or in question and answer session. But the question was like this. Now, Buddhism talks about accepting good and wholesome things, but also for unwholesome things. How can we accept that? The earth is facing so much suffering. What should we do? And I thought to myself, and I said, well, we can do a lot. When we talk about the war outside, we actually have to look inside ourselves. Do we have war inside ourselves? Do we have war within? Do we have good and bad in ourselves that we are trying to take side? The practice of mindful breathing will bring us peace and harmony in ourselves. And we cannot do anything unless we are at peace. We cannot talk about bringing peace to the world when we ourselves is like a bomb, is full of energy of anger, energy of discrimination. So why should we do that? How would we do that? The answer only is practice. And you practice in such a way so that you feel that you have arrived. You don't attend, you don't want to get anything more. You're satisfied with what you have. You're happy with yourself. And your body is in harmony. When we talk about that, we get into the third breath. Breathing in, we're aware of our body. We know how is our body right now. Is it in good shape? Is it too tense? Do we need anything to improve it? Which I believe yes. We never have any perfect health. And when we pay our attention to our body, we have so many exercises to do. Breathing in, if you're just aware of your smile, are you smiling? Are you relaxed enough that you can smile? Is your face is so tense? In our daily life, then we deal with situations that we don't like, and suddenly our body becomes very tense. And now if you be able to come back to your breathing at that time, and you are aware of your body at that time, you're aware of your heart, your muscles, then you can release it. And when we are not so much in tension, and life seems easier. Everything seems much relaxing. Even though I learned about aware of my body, I think I practiced it only when I did total relaxation. And you all experienced it yesterday, I believe? Me too. I love it. Except that I said, oh, it's too long. I don't have time for it. We always have the reason of being busy, of not doing things that we can do and we should do. But you know, about 3-4 years ago, I got a car accident. And I have to be in bed for at least 2 weeks. I almost have to crawl every time I want to shift my body on bed. And of course, my medicine at that time was breathing in and breathing out. You know? I said, okay, this is a chance. I cannot do anything. I can only lay on bed and follow my breathing. But then when I was able to, the pain was released, and when I was able to start walking, I walked very slow. And I remember that I was super slow that one day when I put on the big jacket and walked slowly. One of my sisters thought that I was Thai because he walked slow. And my habit energy is not that slow. I cannot walk fast at that time. But and I could not do the prostration. I could not bend my back. So I thought to myself, oh no, what kind of a nun I am? Because if you are a nun and you cannot do prostration in front of the altar, that's horrible. And I cannot sit still. Every 10 minutes I have to get up because my back hurts so much. So the very first time when I was able to prostrate again, I was crying. Because you get back something that you thought that you cannot do anymore. But look, when we are okay, when we can do all of that, we never treasure it. We take it for granted. We have eyes, we have good eyes, we have strong legs, we have strong arms, we have so-called good health, and then sometimes we waste it. We don't treasure it. So just come back to yourself. Just look back into every single thing of your body and treasure it. Breathing in, you're aware that your liver is still in good function. Breathing out, how wonderful. Breathing in, your eyes are still can look at the sky and enjoy life. Breathing out. Why do I complain about other things? So even though the world is in war, or the environment around us is still not in good shape, but if we are aware enough of little things around us, we still can generate the energy of happiness, and also we can be fully alert of what can we do to help. So many people can do big things. They can contemplating and they can pull their hearts into big things, but they didn't know how to take care of themselves. So after they do the job of service for a long term, then they become exhausted and they become depressed and they don't know how to heal themselves. So we can do things, but we also have to take care of ourselves and also treasure yourself and treasure what life given to you and your ancestor, your parents give to you. If we be able to do that, then I think that we can face any challenging in life. Things happen, things were created, it stay there. After a while, it will have to decay and die, and another cycle happen. So live fully in every moment of your life by taking care of your body, aware of your body. You can do a lot. We talk about, there's a lot of things that you can do, like when sitting, you're aware that you are sitting. When walking, you're aware that you are walking. When laying down, you're aware that you are laying down. When standing, you're aware that you're standing. And those are the things that we do all day long without awareness. So don't tell me that now you don't have time to practice. And that's what I'm telling myself. So no matter how busy we are, the chance of practice is everywhere. Your breath is with you, and your body moves all the time. You know, when some of you got chance to see Thay walk the other day. I remember when Thay was in the hospital, and there were other patients who recovered from the stroke, and they were practicing walking around the hall. I was there, and Thay at that time, he was not able to walk yet. He's still in bed, still unconscious. And when I look at these people who walk very difficult, they really using all of their strength to move one step. And they did it diligently every day. And I told myself, oh, I just wish Thay can do things like that. As long as he's no longer in bed, I'm happy. And if he can walk like these people, I'm happy. And you know, that gave me a lesson. Before, when I walk in the supermarket or on the street, and when I saw people who could not walk normally because of the stroke, like a post-result of the stroke, I just looked, and it didn't click anything in my mind. But after being in the hospital for a while, every single time I saw a person like that, and I say, how courageous they are. I know that how much sweat and effort has been putting on for them to be able to do like that. And everything becomes different. The way I look at people is different. And then now Thay is learning to walk. I'm so happy. And I say, yes, you know, nobody can even know when things happen to us. So enjoy it. Enjoy when we still have strong legs to walk. And everything else seems like relatively okay. Even though if you have cancer, it's still okay. Because a person who has cancer might still live longer than others. Accident can happen anywhere too. So nobody can say like, how long is my lifespan? Because we cannot say. The only thing we have is today. It's what we are having right now in the present moment. And so don't waste it. Enjoy it. Enjoy every single thing you'll be able to do, every single thing that you feel pleasant and you can enjoy. We are what we eat. And actually we are what we consume. So everything we consume is coming from the earth. And we interact with the earth. We are the earth. We eat the food, and the food comes from the earth. We drink, the water comes from the earth. So what we have is what the earth has. Anything happen to the earth affects us. But also anything happen to us affected the earth. And we call the earth Mother Earth because the earth is there, always embracing us and giving us things. We also have to do such a thing to repay. And I really think that if we be able to produce a mindful step, we already contribute to the earth. The earth has enough stamping, enough of damage on it. It needs something more peaceful, something more caressing, something more loving on it. So when we walk with love, we walk with mindfulness. When we walk for ourselves, we walk for our loved ones, but we also walk for the earth. The quality of our walking will be different. And I think that's what the earth needs. It's the same thing when we're speaking. If we speak lovingly, it creates an energy of peace that can affect into the air. And it can affect to the earth as well. So everything, all actions that we are doing also affect to the earth. And I think that is the minimum we can do to help the earth right now. I'm a small person, and I don't dream of doing big things, but just smaller things is hard enough for me to try to do every day right. And that's why we need each other. We need to practice together so we can remind ourselves and we can inspire ourselves. And the collective energy that we produce can help the earth. Whenever we talk about the earth, we talk about something solid. We talk about the solidity that we need in ourselves. So we have to protect that. Because if the earth is shaking, we don't have any more ground. We don't have any more stability. I probably have to go to the fourth one, that after we realize our body, the next breath that we can do is to calm our body. They all interact from the first to the fourth breath. Because to calm our body, we also have to rely on our in-breath and out-breath. So breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile with love, accepting to my body. And people who have difficult time are very difficult to accept the situation. And that just creates another layer of struggling inside. And if they cannot have harmony inside, they suffer. And then also they make people around them suffer. just recently, there was another incident happened in Istanbul airport. I don't know whether you know about that. That there's a revolution happened in Istanbul, and the airport of Istanbul was closed, and people have to stay there for 2 days because no airplane were able to take off. And we happened to have a delegation that came from Vietnam for the 21-day retreat. And they stay a little bit longer in Plum Village. And on the day they come back, they stuck in Istanbul during that revolution. I think that delegation is 10 people. And they said that, well, you stay there, you saw people run, you run. People lay down, you lay down. People crying, I think they didn't cry. That's the best thing. But they just do what other people do, because we're talking about thousands of people in the airport who cannot take off and who are around and don't do anything. And there were bullets shooting, not to them, but around. They can hear the bullet, they can see people shooting to each other. It's just like war. What happened right there? And this happened, I think, last week, a week before last week, something like that. Actually, last week, 15, something. So when they wrote the report to Sister Chen Kong, and finally, after 2 days and 2 nights staying at the airport, then they were able to come home. And they said the only thing they can do at that time is to practice. Because they are a group of people, so then they be able to affect into each other, to remind each other, they follow their breath. And they said at this moment, they see how the practice is helping them. So they sit down and they just follow their in-breath and out-breath, and they're aware that people are running around, people are scared, people are fear. They admit that they really feel, it's very fearful. They also scare, but they just stay there and they follow their breath, and they arrive home safely, and that is really an experience. I mentioned this story because I think that things like this can happen anytime. When they bought a ticket to France via Istanbul, how can they expect something like that happen on the day they go back home? So the fourth exercise, breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile to my body. It's very, very important too. My own experience with this practice is that I know it's kind of like not much variety, but it's backed with Thay, because I have been with Thay for last year and a half. And during the time that he was still in bed, and even until now, my experience is my heart going up and down, up and down, and up and down with his situation. When he was able to open his eyes, I said, "Whew, that's great." And when he has another complication, then I saw that my heart sinking down. So I always have to practice this. I always have to close my eyes and breathing in. I know, I'm aware that where the situation of my heart is right now. Breathing out, I have to calm it. And that's basically what I have been practicing. Just one little thing, and it's just about my heart. But thinking about how many different other organs that we have. So, what I would say is, if you be able to focus on your mindful breathing, and just these first 4 exercises, it can keep you busy all day, all months. And believe me, The more you practice, the more you get familiar with it, the more you have peace inside. And things that seems like not in control before can suddenly fall into part, because we are one with everything else. And if we be able to have peace inside of us, peace is possible outside of us. But even the body is what we call our body. Do we have control of it? How can we expect to control others? So by practicing this, I hope that you can pay more attention to yours, your bodies, then you can see how much you can bring peace to yourself and peace to others. So let's practice all 4 of these exercises and see how we feel. I might need your bell, and I'm going to do guided meditation for this. Everybody ready? Let's practice together. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. In, out. Breathing in a long breath, I know I'm breathing in a long breath. Breathing out a long breath, I know I am breathing out a long breath. Breathing in a short breath, I know I'm breathing in a short breath. Breathing out a short breath, I know I am breathing out a short breath. Long, short in breath, long, short out breath. Breathing in, I follow my in-breath from the beginning to the end. Breathing out, I follow my out-breath from the beginning to the end. Following in, following out. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Experience my whole body. I breathe out. Aware of my body, experiencing my body. Calming my body, I breathe in. Smiling to my body, I breathe out. Calming, smiling. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I can open my eyes. Breathing out, I smile. Thank you for listening. Thank you for practicing together.